Alright, so we are looking at Thursday, December 6th, my advanced class. We're going to go farther into Outsiders and do talkie bits from there. So the novel homework is due tomorrow, which we'll talk about in a moment. Early book report is due tomorrow if you're planning on turning it in for the extra points. Toys for Tots, if you would like to donate and bring in stuff for that, you're more than welcome to. Each toy that you bring in gets you between 2 and 5 points, depending on how big it is. But it has to be new and unwrapped. You cannot just bring in random stuff you find under your bed. Unless you have new unwrapped toys under your bed, then you've got a great house. And then tomorrow is the last day to bring in the, what do you call those things? Poetry, no.
Bottle caps.
No, not that. The poetry test corrections. You can turn them in after that, but I'm taking it off my website tomorrow. And the bottle caps, I believe they're still taking them through next week. And then if you're at home, I gave back the quizzes because we're going to talk about those in just a moment. See, for you guys, once again, book reporting stuff, to give you a quick rundown, make sure you read the directions. I have updated the online directions to reflect this, where now the online directions say you have to type this, because you have to type this. So now the directions reflect that to try and help you out. Questions as far as book report goes? Nope. Once again, checkpoints coming up as far as the book goes. Chapter 4 was due technically yesterday. We're going to begin talking about Chapter 5 in a moment. Chapter 8 is going to be Tuesday. And then Chapter 10 due next Friday. So a week from tomorrow is Chapter 10. And then Chapter 12 due Wednesday. Those of you who finished the book early, starting I think next Thursday, I do have an extra credit crossword word find you can do. And it's either extra credit or extra B points. It is your choice. It can get you up to 10 points, but you cannot get it until you actually finish the book, because there's hashtag spoilers right there in it. So you have to finish it, and then I give it to you. If you don't finish the book, then you just have to wait until like the last day, and then you're welcome to try and get it. We can go from there. Homework, once again, to help you out from there. The 4 options, you can either do the character descriptions, the I wonder questions, alphabet phrase, or the taping your quiz if you did well. Although I'm guessing not a lot of you are taping in the quiz. We're going to talk about it here in just a moment. Questions as far as the homework for tomorrow. I believe I only have one more homework left this year. I think I'm going to do one more next week, and then that'll be it. Because we have book report. Now, do realize we only have 2 weeks left in the year. Because it was 2018 before you get too excited.
Thanks, Mr. Burbank,
I know.
for getting my hopes.
Hashtag teacher humor. And so on that one. But I think I have one more homework next week, and then we'll be done from there. Yes, Kempy?
For the taping your quiz, how high of a score do you have?
That is a good question. That's my fault for not putting in the directions on the piece of paper right in front of you. So taking a look at the quiz to see if I can continue harassing people. What I want to do real quick with the quiz, with Outsiders, there's going to be a number of things that are not created by me. There are quiz questions that have to go on there that are starting to prepare you for iLearn, and are going to be more of those higher level ones that I've been trying to prepare you for. So what I want to do is run through the quiz, big word, it's got like 12 letters, quiz, to try and show you how best to figure out stuff. So when you get to next week's quiz and then the test after that, we can hopefully help your scores go up a wee bit. See, number 1, that was straight from remembering back from the short stories. If you didn't remember the short story stuff, where could you have looked?
Your notebook.
In your notebook. So it was just a matter of actually opening up your notebook to look in there. But I think most of you got that one correct. It was not a big issue. Number 2, that was one we had a lot more issues with. A lot of people missed number 2. Here's the problem. Number 2 is not as hard as you made it. What it required you to do was look in the book, which is a lot of things that you guys avoided, because you could cross out a lot of those. Number 2 says, Johnny's comments at the end of the flashback scene at the top of page 34 are, then you have to go through, sorry, I was thinking of number 3. But still you can go through there and figure out, say, an empty threat that he'd never do. Well, if you've read farther, what does he end up doing?
He stabs someone.
So he ends up doing it. So you can automatically cross out number 1, because later in the book, he ends up stabbing a kid. Because to back up, let's see, what did it say on page 34? What did he say? If anyone ever does that to me again, I'm going to shank a fool or something.
Don't make that. I don't think it's like...
There you go. Johnny never walked by himself after that, and Johnny, who is the most law-abiding of any of us, now carried in his back pocket a 6-inch switchblade. He'd use it if he ever got jumped again. They'd scared him that much. He would kill the next person who jumped him. Nobody was ever going to beat him like that again. Not over his dead body. All right, well then, the next chapter, he shanks a fool. So that's not going to be that one. Insulting to the greaser way of life? Well, what is it? What kind of way of life do the greasers embrace?
The fighting kind of life.
Yeah, poor choices. They're like, the poorer the choice, the more the greaser. So it's obviously carrying a knife is not going to insult greasers. An expectation to get revenge, that's the one that you probably could have chosen between the two. But of the two, if you read ahead, you find out it's foreshadowing the things to come. 3 was the one I was apologizing for. That's the one I meant to think of. 3 was the one most kids missed that required looking in there. It says, the second paragraph of chapter 1 suggests that Pony Boy, so let's see, chapter 1, second paragraph, I had a long walk home and no company, but I usually loan it anyway for no reason except that I like to watch movies undisturbed so I can get into them and live them with the actors when I see a movie with someone that's kind of uncomfortable. So it's all about him coming home on his own from the movie theater. Does it mean he never had a real friend? Well, as we find out in the book, does Ponyboy have real friends?
Yeah.
A lot of them, so that can't be that one. Could never get someone to go with him. Well, in the next little paragraph, he says, I could have asked any one of my friends to go with me. They all would have done it if I'd asked them. Like, oh, I just had to read. Yeah, it was right there. So you can go ahead and cross out that one. Considers himself a negative person? Maybe, but he never really says anything about being negative in there. And later on, all he does is talk about looking on the bright side about things. So once again, that was reading farther into the book. Let's see. 4, sometimes like fantasy stories more than real life. That was the right answer.
What?
Given, it's a little on the tough side. 1, I didn't write the question. But with that one, you can cross off the first 2, which means it comes down to between considers himself a negative person and sometimes like fantasy stories more than real life. Between those 2, only one really makes sense in the story. But most of you who chose the wrong answer chose A and B. The vast majority of you who did it just went for those first 2, which like the obvious wrong ones. Not trying to attack you. What I'm trying to tell you to do is look in the book to find your information. Don't give away free points. Liru.
To be fair,
Yes.
I did read it.
Yes.
I just didn't read that far. So I didn't see
You
that.
didn't read
That-
past chapter 1, paragraph 3?
No, like when I went back into the book, I had forgotten that, like...
And then she didn't read farther after that. So.
You didn't tell us to read the one down.
You're correct. I also don't tell you to breathe or blink. At some point, you figure out how to do things on your own. I'm saying that's the part we start with, and then beyond that is the using of your own brain. Which, again, is unfortunate, but when it comes time for the big kid test, that's what they're going to make you do. So it's all training for big kid land. 4, almost all of you guys got right. The whole Johnny sobbing, what does that mean? Most of you came with the compassionate. 5 was the whole can you figure out words things, and it was on page 40 where it said it can be described as, and perceptive, because she's like, oh, you might like sunsets, which means that she's good at figuring things out. Most of you guys got that one, even though most of you didn't seem to know what perceptive meant. You still figured it out? Go you on that one.
No, I'm not too like that.
Most of you got number 6 correct also. What did Ponyboy mean at the end of chapter 1? He said, I lie to myself all the time, I never believe me. And that was the whole, he's trying to ignore his rough home life situation. 7 I thought was tough, but most of you got that one right also. Ponyboy states that it would be a miracle if Dally loved anything. This idea that Dally cares only about himself is contradicted, though, in Dally says. And we find out as the book goes along, Dally is not a horrible person. Dally just has an awful home life. And so because of that, he doesn't care about very many people. But when he does care about a person, he does good things for them. And there's the whole, you can't run away in just a sweatshirt. So that's him caring about a person. 8, most of you guys got right. 9, Ponyboy's lie to the farmer that he's playing army with friends demonstrates that that one was a little bit tougher. I agree. And that, once again, not one that I wrote there too. But that was when he comes out there, he said to go through and sort of check him off. So he is untrustworthy and cannot be depended upon to be truthful, has a sense of what is necessary for survival, reads too much and cannot separate reality from fantasy, has a strong imagination from seeing too many movies. That requires you to have read that far into the book and know what is going on in that scene. When he talks to the farmer, what is he trying to do? Why?
Because he wants to... He doesn't want him to know the other criminals.
So he's trying to save himself. So that became the whole, you had to go back, read that part of the story, know what section it's referencing to know that answer. From just the question, I agree. It's tough to figure out. Going back to that scene, you're like, oh, he's trying to save his own butt. Well, which one of those is talking about him trying to save his own butt?
Yes, a sense of what's necessary for survival.
Necessary to survive. So that's what it came down to, is trying to make that connection. That's the whole, a lot of what we're trying to get you to do now is going back and looking in the book. For many of you, that is a skill that you try really hard to resist. And here's where the quiz, it came back to haunt you. So the bad news / good news is, next week, you have a whole nother attempt at doing this all over again.
Yay!
And you get to learn from these mistakes and get stronger. Or recommit to poor choices. And then 10, on 10, why do they not walk all the way home?
The blue Mustang kind of pulls up and goes.
Pretty much
"Ha-ha."
came down to, the other guys showed up. That just came down to, did you read that far into the book where they showed up? And some of you did. Some of you read that far, then forgot, and didn't do the simple effort of just looking up the answer. And so it's the fact that the boyfriend showed up, and that's why they could not walk all the way to the house. And then, of course, magic lens, which still scares me when you guys miss those.
Ooh, yeah, that's me.
I will turn in my book report early this week. I mean, I had kids choosing this and week and all kinds of different things as verbs, which was scary. What was even scarier is, if you went back and looked at our last bell work, it's almost the exact same sentence. I tried to make it as similar as possible to help you guys out.
So,
but
what were the 2 words?
what are the 2 verbs? Will and turn. Will and turn are your 2 verbs. Everything else in there is, like, book is an adjective, report's a noun, early is an adverb, this is an adjective, week is a noun.
I'm not good.
Cuss.
What would you say number 10 was again?
10, the reason they don't walk all the way home is the socias show up, their boyfriends in the blue Mustang.
So if I
Randy
put the
and
Blue
Bob.
Mustang, it would
Sounds like a TV show. Randy and Bob.
Did you put anything more than that? It'd probably be -1. I'd not give you -1.
feels like
Show it to me at the end. I'm not going to look at it right now. Just bring it to me then. I'll take a look at it. Did I give you -1?
I don't know.
Was there anything on it?
I mean, it has a scratch and then it has scribbles. And
Well, how about this?
Okay,
Go through and figure out how many you missed. Match the score at the top. Glad I can help you out on that one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then number 12, the 2 parts of speech when we label the word bully. I did not give you guys the hint. I gave 4th period the hint to see if it would help them. And it did not help them at all. Where it says, Bob tends to be a bit of a bully. Your hint I gave to 4th period was, what word comes right in front of bully?
A.
A. What does A always go in front of? No. Noun. A cat. A dog. A boy. A kid.
A fish.
And so, if A comes right in front of it, what does that make the next word? Noun.
But
Now, given adjective can be a bully, it was not used as a bully as an adjective here. It can, like if you said, ooh, are you going to put on your bully clothes and go hit kids? Bully becomes an adjective. But here it says you are a bully, that makes you a noun. Just like where it says when he tries to bully Johnny, most of you got that one, because how are we using bully there? Using that one as a verb. That first one was tough, I agree. But once again, that's my job, to try and make you think. Yeah.
Okay, why does it say Brovicast? Because I thought that was going to be a noun.
No, that's because in case people leave my quizzes someplace, they have my name on there so teachers can return them to me. So I was
Oh.
trying a new experiment to get things returned.
Whoa, Tyler, what is that?
He's making a thing.
That's so cool.
I agree. Then back
I
to you.
made
Any other? That's adorable too. Questions as far as the quiz goes? It was painful. The good news is I give this one to you at the end of the 9 weeks, where even for those of you who bombed it, it probably barely affects your grade at all. Because you have all these other grades going into it. I do these things for a reason. So I give it to you at the end of the 9 weeks, and that way when you have like, Mr. Broviak, I'm horrible. Well, in that one, you're like, Mr. Broviak, that barely moved my grade. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. That way when you fail a grade at the end of the 9 weeks, and you've had all those other good grades, it moves your grade like half a percentage point. I moved from a 95.8 to a 95.3. Yeah, you're welcome. So that's how the learning comes in there. So next week, you have another chance to learn. If you screw up next week, are you going to fail my class? No!
Wait, what?
But it might hurt you on the inside a little bit because that's how learning works. And then you have a test after that. If you bomb that, are you going to fail my class?
Yeah.
No, but it might move you a bit more because it's a bit bigger. Yes.
What chapters is the test next week October?
If only I had given you a big thing and said, hey, you should know these things.
Not chapter 10.
Right, that was fun. So once again, we have all these things up there. It's not fair if you know the answer and just don't like it and scream at me. Or whatever that was. Then back to you guys. Let's talk about things in the book. Since we got done, we have the stabbing of a child. Who is now dead?
Bob.
Bob is now dead. Who stabbed Bob?
Johnny.
Ooh, with our stabbing of Bob scene, with the whole Johnny and Ponyboy running away and things like that. Sorry, hiccuping. Stop it. Okay, I'm good. What happens in that scene with the whole stabbing of Bob? To fully understand it, why does Johnny stab Bob? Ramos?
They were drowning me.
Good guess. The problem is, it's not quite right. Because what gets thrown off in there is, Johnny knows Bob. How does Johnny know Bob?
Because Bob jumped Johnny the first time.
Where's our evidence that Johnny knows Bob? The rings. So this is the person that jumped him the last time and beat him so badly. So Johnny recognizes that. Here's the issue in that whole drowning scene when everything is happening. Let's say Baron is pretending to be our pony boy. Good job, Baron. And we have Sharp, who is doing the drowning of her. In the story, did you catch who does the drowning? It's not Bob.
It's Rain.
It's a random guy named David. Because in the scene, they're like, David, get him! And then David's over there doing the drowning. So if Sharp is in the process of drowning Zito, and I want to save Zito, who do I stab?
David.
Right, but I don't. I go, Zito, I'm going to save you! Stab, 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 stab. I stab someone over here. Right, but he's not doing the drowning. Right, because my goal is not saving that person. What's my goal?
Saving me.
No.
Me isn't like
Killing that person.
Me isn't like that.
Because Johnny stabs Bob out of revenge, not to try and save his friend.
No, that was self-defense.
Oh my God, it's
Once again, not self-defense if they're not attacking me, and I'm not self-defending Zito if you're the one attacking her, and I'm like, Zito, I got you! Stab, stab, stab. You feel safe yet? No, you're still drowning. Weird. I keep standing in this part. So that's where the issue comes in. Now, once that happens and then Ponyboy wakes up, Ponyboy at that moment is innocent. Because all Ponyboy did was get a really bad haircut and a really bad shampooing. And then he wakes and he's like, worst haircut ever! And then he wakes up. But what's the first thing Johnny says to him when he wakes up? I just killed that boy! So as soon as he says that, he's confessing to a crime. Which now means Ponyboy has a choice. Ponyboy either has to turn his friend in, or he has to go along with him. Because as soon as you know of a crime, you have to report it. If you don't report that crime, you become part of the crime. So that all of a sudden, Ponyboy's put in a really tough decision. Which direction does he want to go? And that's when he ends up running away with him as opposed to turning his friend in. Sharp.
Okay, so on page 57,
Yes.
it said Johnny is saying that I had to kill him because they were drowning you and he might have killed me.
Right. Unfortunately, that does not hold up in a court of law. That's like me stabbing him saying, Sharp, you may one day try to attack me and you're in the same class with him, so I'm going to stab Doyle just to make sure you don't think about it. That doesn't work. There was no actual attacking
They
of
were going to
him.
go beat him up and he was just like,
Ah, no. Tomorrow we're going to talk about chapter 5 in the church.